Gentleman's time has expired. Ms. Plaskett for 5 minutes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member, and a pleasant good day to you, Mr. Secretary. I first also want to invite you to visit the U.S. Virgin Islands, which I hope you and your staff could make a visit to, which I'm sure you'll find the weather to be much more pleasant now if you make that trip earlier rather than later. But the U.S. Virgin Islands, in all seriousness, at one time was considered the breadbasket of the Caribbean, particularly on the island of St. Croix, which is primarily agriculture at one time, and has since fallen off of the track in terms of its agricultural, not only its feeding itself, but also its exports. I noticed so many of the programs that are available in the Department of Agriculture, your MAP, your foreign market development programs, additionally, particularly the Emerging Markets Program, which would be of great assistance to us in the U.S. Virgin Islands. We seem to have a bottleneck because so many of those offices come through Puerto Rico. And I wanted you to speak on the availability of this funding to those areas that your agency has identified as being remote, small, and impoverished as well. We have over the entire island a third of the children in the U.S. Virgin Islands living in poverty. So I wanted to know if you could talk about the effectiveness of these programs on growing new markets in terms of agriculture and how the Virgin Islands could benefit from that.
Congressman, the programs you mentioned are primarily export promotion programs that work with commodity groups and organizations that are involved in exports. I think what I would suggest in terms of rebuilding the economy is that there may be an opportunity for us to focus on some of our value-added processing resources, some of our local and regional food promotion resources to create more product that could potentially be available for export and or to furnish the needs of the island. We're seeing a significant increase in local and regional food systems, and it's a multi-billion-dollar opportunity, and we have a number of programs under our Know Your Farmer initiative that would potentially be useful. I'd be happy to have our team at USDA reach out to your staff to give you a full briefing on both the export assistance programs as well as the local and regional food promotion programs.
Additionally, with respect to that, if you would also talk about the rural development, we are in fact, as your statement talks about, very small, remote, and a poor place. We know that your water and environmental programs were available to 40 states as well as the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico received the benefit from those programs. We in fact have infrastructure as well as housing and community facilities issues which are at an extreme rate. In terms of our facilities, we haven't had a new school built in the U.S. Virgin Islands in over 30 years. So you can imagine the great need that the people of the territories have for some of the availability that comes under the agency. And I was hoping you would talk about the awarding of that $150 million grants that were those other places we had access to in terms of, our waterways and some of the other things that those things could be used to strengthen rural communities.
Well, the $150 million was a allocation from the Farm Bill, but we have a series of infrastructure projects under rural development, electric, water, community facilities, and broadband, and all of those would potentially be available for utilization in the Virgin Islands. In fact, I think we have been having conversations with folks down there about some of the high cost of electricity and power, and whether or not either the REAP program or our General Electric program could provide help and assistance to create more reliance on renewables and less reliance on high-cost energy sources. So all of those programs, again, are available. It's just a matter of prioritizing and figuring out what is the most important thing you need and having our teams work with your office to identify the program and to make sure that the application is an appropriate form. Well,
my office wants to work very vigilant with you on alleviating any bottlenecks or any problems we may have in those applications. You know, with our cost of electricity at potentially in some instances 49 cents per kilowatts, when here on the mainland it's about 11 to 14 cents. That's cataclysmic to families as well as businesses there.
It may be helpful for one member of your staff to attend a function we're holding on March 23rd down at the department, where we're going to outline some of our programs to a group of folks who are interested in knowing more detail about them. So we'll get an invitation out to your staff to.
Thank you very much.
That.
I yield the balance of my time. Thank you,
Yes,
Chairman.
Mr.